Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in to Flying with Mike, and kind of a repeat flight from the last time we were with you. We got a rejected PIREP, so I thought, you know what? We didn't put it up to YouTube, so we're going to fly it again and see if maybe it was just the nighttime giving me trouble judging ground and all. This plane, it could be anything. That's where the difficulty is. That I think well, I'm not going to say I think the airlines had with it, but it might be. I'm, just shooting in the dark there. Well, in the daytime. But anyway, welcome aboard Flying with Mike, Sunday edition. Welcome, welcome, one and all. We are going to be flying from Keesler Air Force Base to Scott Air Force Base. Keesler is in Mississippi along the Gulf Coast. Scott Air Force Base in Illinois is outside of St. Louis. So I hope you enjoy it. We're going to fly what's called a Civil Air Reserve Fleet Flight, CRAF for short, with Sim Air Force. And I really hope you're going to really like it. Hang on a second while I'm talking here. It just dawned on me. Let's start ACARS. And hopefully we'll have everybody aboard. Survey says, let's make sure we get online with them. And then we'll proceed with getting this flight up and going. Hope your week went well and is looking at you to be well. It is Sunday. Hope it's been a great weekend, like I said. And for us here in my hometown, it's homecoming weekend. Yeah, I can already hear people going, no, that's usually during the school year. We actually have two here in my town. I don't really understand the whole why behind it all, but that's what they do. So I think it's just a reason to party. You just want my opinion? But, it's hard to say. But there'll be a big fair down at the park and all the reuniting of, past graduating classes of the high school here and all. So anyway, it's always a fun week. One of the longer parades in the area happens here. It's not, I don't think the longest, but it ranks up there, I think. So, but they're always fun to watch. So, but anyway, that is this week. Today, we're in Clipper 18, not the other call sign we had last time. So, hope you all enjoy. Oh, I wanted to check something. Hang on. Scooting up. Yes, sir. We are indeed online. Just widening out the view of the ACAR map to include where we're headed. All right. So what we have on the line here is the Rotate MD-11 passenger version. Now I have to say it that way because you can buy either version, and I don't know if the deal is still in play, but you can get some money off on the one you don't have. And that's one way of doing it. Yeah, I can already hear y'all. I don't even want to entertain it. But it's basically the same plane except with windows and no cargo door. However, if you notice, sure looks like a cargo door was there. So I don't know. But it is the passenger version. We'll go over a couple of the quirks that you need to be aware with this plane. And I'll be honest, I don't know what'll happen if you don't do those things. Truly, honestly, I don't know. So enjoy the MD-11 going from Keesler Air Force Base, Mississippi, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois. Speaking of which, let's first crawl into the cockpit. Yeah, it looks just like an MD-11, doesn't it? All right. Yeah, that's what we kind of expect. If it looked like a Cessna, I got in the wrong plane. No. I know you all out there in the other world are enjoying the Citation 10. We've always had one. But anyway, I just haven't flown it in a while. That may have to come to bear here soon. All right, before we get into the pre-brief of this mission, let's, when I first get into the aircraft, after I get it all settled, I come over here to an EFB. And it's a good one. It'll be actually blank. It's turned off. So you'll just come down, click the little power button, lower left corner. This is the screen you'll be presented with. Pick what you want to start it with. Now, I know a lot of you go for cold and dark. You know, there's only maybe three switches you'd have to click if you don't start parked with external power. Yeah, I think it's 3. So I start parked with external power. Then now you have, well, what I do is go to ground ops. First, verify, since I started it with ground power, let's make sure it's actually on. It is not right now. Or is it? Hang on. I thought I disabled it. Hang on. Oh, why did it come back? I must accidentally click something. All right, so you want it to show dismiss. So that way you know you're connected. You can go out and see it. It's sitting right by the nose gear. Make sure your wheels are chalked. And now here's what I do. I bring the cockpit stair in, unless you're at a gateway. Then, hey, look at that, clever. Toggle jetway. That's a smart move Rotate did. I like that. It does work. And hang on, let's get back out here. We don't have to get all the way around. Where you see we're up here right in the front, which is fine. You know, that's where they're going to load first class anyway. The jetways will come to L2. So a little more realistic, which again, I like. I think they did great with that. I wish more would. However, that's their call. All right, so I'll open the cockpit door since we're not in a jetway situation. Have the staircase with it, and then I'll open the cargo doors and the lights down here, they're yours. Choose what you want. Okay, I go with them on high and I go with them on in the cargo bay. All right, then come to where one of the first quirks we'll run into. Not sure if there's another one. I know for sure this one you need to be aware of. Of course, from SimBrief, we'll put in our passenger count, double check the payload, make sure they match, because, you know, you could get one that loads with cargo. Block fuel, taxi fuel, trip fuel. Now, read the note above trip fuel. Again, your pilot in command, if you want to be able to see what the landing weight is, you know what that means. You should, because you don't really want to perform a heavyweight landing. Not to say you might, if say we take off and the center engine blows and you have to come back. Got a little bit of, now in this case, you won't be overweight. But say you're going to Anchorage or cross one of, you know, headed for a pond, yeah, you may come in a little heavy, so you may have to dump out some fuel. However, here's where the quirk is, and it's in the payload CG, although that's not what we're worried about. Down below the graph where all the numbers are, you'll see TOCG. For whatever reason, and I'm not here to argue yay or nay, but it has to be the takeoff CG, TOCG, 30% to 31%. Now, in the passenger plane, getting it to 31% could put you out of the envelope. The envelope is that line you see above it on the graph. So I just get it as close as I can and call it good. 30.2. That's fine. Some like 30.5. That's fine. 30.9. If it'll let you, that's fine. But if you're out of the envelope, that's not fine. So I don't know why, but that is what rotate requires. So the freighter stays within that much better than the passenger. And I know it's because the way the passenger planes are equipped and all of this. One of maybe a couple tips I have for you. For sure, this one I like. Oh, the other quirk, and I don't know, and I haven't checked. I'm doing it right now. And I don't think it is going to do what I want. When you install these, you get two different aircraft in your folder. So when you go, and this is what happened, by the way, for those that were on stream with me Friday for this evening flight we did, here's where my problem kept coming in. And I'll show again when we look at the McDo. You got to make sure the flight plan gets into the right folder. Now, it'll get into the right folder. It's going to go to the freighter if you did that one first. If you did the passenger, then you're fine. It goes to the passenger. However, the other one doesn't get it. And I don't get why. So be mindful of that. That's what happened, folks. The flight plan for this flight went to the freighter version. Not, well, which is fine, but not the passenger. So that's why I kept getting a format error when I tried to load the flight plan. So now I don't know what happened with the Airbus. That one is still a mystery. We'll find out maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's flight, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough worries for itself. So we'll worry about today. But that's what happened. So, or at least right now, what I think happened. So, but anyway, for right now's argument's sake, just make sure the TOCG is at 30.2% or 30 to 31%. All you do is slide the payload CG normally to the right, but you know, slide it to wherever it gets it where you need it to be. Okay. And that, folks, is the biggest quirk. Oh, I didn't tell you the tip. Aha. Get back here. Now, once you have all of this set, your CG, your load, your fuel, and this is just me, it's not in the tutorial that comes with the plane. I click right where you see the flashing gray bar. Apply load configuration to the plane and FMS. What that does, it basically saves one, maybe two steps by basically taking this, throwing it in where you're going to check on the McDo when you do your weight check, which we'll show here in a second. So that's a great thing Rotate put here. That helps. And again, you just got to click on the line selects if you don't next to the open fields. But again, 3-4 clicks, you know, if you're in a hurry, that's a little bit of time. And if it's wrong, then you got to fix it, hopefully. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. Let's get going. I've got you all caught up. Then once we get going, I use the MD-11 QRF checklist. I Googled, it came up, and it is the checklist for the tutorial flight. So I recommend anyone who purchases the Rotate MD-11, if you are absolutely not sure or even have a clue what to do with the plane, go through the tutorial a couple times. Kind of get used to what, the plane needs. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to do, and I'll be honest, I had somebody tell me in, I believe it was YouTube, uh, uh, comments to do this as also on takeoff. I'll show it when I do it. And it immediately gets on. It's kind of like setting LNAV, VNAV. That's what I think this, what I did does, except in MD-11 verbology. Is that a word? If not, I claim it. But anyway, so there you go with some of the what to expect with the plane. It's not a bad plane. It really does. I just had a bad landing, and I'm going to attribute it to night, and that nasty thing called the ground came up too quick on me. I didn't hit hard. It was 700 feet a minute, so it wasn't a huge divot in the runway. Nonetheless, it's harkens a hard landing check in the real world and probably a chit chat with the chief pilot, all of which I don't have to worry about here. They just say reject. So, all right, so let's pre-brief this and get ready to roll, because I've got the aircraft to the point where we're going to do the performance. Okay, to do this, I'm going to use Sim Toolkit. All right, and by the way, I am on VATSIM. I don't even know if we have controllers. No PDCs have come down, so that's one plus, as you can tell. Usually when that screen comes up, yeah, I'm on there. All right, so here's Keesler. We're going to head over to Gulfport and straight up to Meridian, then the long run to Centralia, Illinois, and the Centralia 2 arrival. All right, a pretty decent, simple approach. Okay, payload today. We're actually really light, 176 peeps, 33,440 pounds. Got a block fuel there at about 36,894, and I think that's what I put in. And again, we're taking off 2-2, but I'm thinking the airport is landing 1-4s at Scott. So we'll kind of gauge it. If we have to change it in flight, we will. But we're right now going to set up for 1-4 left. It's 10,000 feet long, so plenty of room to get it stopped. Cost index 80, and yeah, we'll fly flight level 390. I'm okay with that, especially with a light load. Weather, 230 at 10 is the weather here at Keesler. Obviously, that makes 22 the obvious choice. Clear 10-mile visibility and a balmy 90 degrees, humidity 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Can we just say, ugh? Okay, now you see why we chose a different runway here. Look at those winds going across that runway. Yeah. Now, the one thing to its favor, winds are 200 at only 4 knots. A tailwind landing with that is not bad, okay? And we got Ohio Sigma Gamer 1. How do you turn on VNAV? UNC, how do you turn on VNAV? In this plane, it's not going to be like you're used to in Airbus or Boeing products. It is actually, as Airbus is so automated, this is a step even more into automation. You cannot simply just turn on the VNAV, but we'll kind of show it here when we get taxiing. Welcome aboard, by the way, with the first time chat, Ohio Sigma Gamer 1. We got a few clouds to dodge. Well, actually, we'll fly through them, 3,200 feet. And here at Scott, and it's 92, well, call it 91. And even more oppressive humidity. It's just, again, ugh, just ugh. Icky, icky, icky. And that is an official meteorological term, icky. All right. So, and by the way, the few showers we may dodge. We'll see. They show up here right now, no ATC. So that's a good, well, kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing. You know, I know y'all like to hear them. Tell us where to go, how to get there, all that good stuff. All right. So let's look here at the FMC. Now, McDonnell Douglas, I don't know if they were, you're just going to see a lot of Airbus in this aircraft. And I'll be honest, I can't remember the MD-80, but it's just a lot of Airbus. It's very reminiscent of it. I mean, look at the McDo here. I mean, FMS. I mean, yeah, McDo, maybe. Very similar. When you look at the overhead panel here, oh, you know what? You can't really see it. Hang on, let me pull that away. It's structured a lot like Airbus. Now, is it exact? No. But you can see a structuring like it, and the big one that they followed, if it's not lit, it's on. It's set properly. Only when it's lit do we have possibly where we got to make it not lit. So yeah, it really, when somebody kept pushing and pushing me to do this MD-11. I am not a huge fan of this aircraft, except for one big thing. This aircraft in the DC-10, when they take off, you swear you're looking at a rocket. Because what they'll do is they'll go down the runway and they'll just keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling that nose up to where it's almost looks like from a distance it's going to go vertical. It is just something that huge, just climbing like a rocket and then pushing over, at whatever to start the acceleration process. C5 does this too sometimes, except when it's very heavy. And then it kind of scares the you-know-what out of you because you think it's going to crash. And I've seen both in my days with the aircraft fire rescue. All right. So let's get back down here then to the McDo and walk through it real quick. So you'll come in, as you can see, a very similar Airbus-like flight plan page called F-plan on top of it. NavRad, well, that's also in Boeing, but a lot of this you find in Airbus. Really, really made it a lot easier for me to get this plane in the air. Landing it has always been a challenge. Now, the airlines loved this plane when it first came out, but it wasn't long till they threw it to they mothballed them. And Boeing, McDonnell, yeah, it would have been Boeing at that time, wanted to try to get them back in the air. So the cargo companies were given huge discounts to take them off Boeing's hands. Hence why they are so successful in the cargo world. They made them work. They figured out where the issues might have been. I don't know the whole story behind it, but the airlines just pretty much tossed them. And the cargo companies just gobbled them up at literally blue light specials from Kmart and filled their fleets with them. FedEx, UPS, German air cargo for Lufthansa. I mean, just unbelievable. And they are actually still flying today, built in the mid 80s. They are slowly relegating to the graveyard, but there are some still in action yet today. Amazing. So, but anyway, so you come in here, you're going to check your dates, of course, on the init page, and then start working your way down. So just like Airbus, you'll click over here, select SID, then you'll select, or runway, then SID that you're going to use. And for here, there is none. And then start putting your flight plan in. And then at the bottom, same thing for Mid-America. You're going to click, wait a minute, that's wrong. Well, where it says 1-4 left would have said just KBLV, and you'll do the same thing. Approach, star, boom, done. And then check it out real quick. I mean, real simple. Where we're at now, we don't go to perf like you would in an Airbus. We go to takeoff approach. However, it's not like Boeing, where that would present you your SID, your stars, your runways. It's actually where you calculate your takeoff. You calculate your landing. Well, actually, it does it for you for the landing. All right. So real quick, let's bring Sim Toolkit back. All right. Now, why I use Sim Toolkit? Very simple. First off, it's all free, and you can integrate things down here in the bottom with this manager. I have SimBrief here. So let me go over here, find View Flight Plan. Here it is. Now, you could use the performance and tools. Uh-oh. Holy Terror is up here. Ah, there she is. There she is, and there she goes for treasure. Aw. I heard you coming there, little grandkid.
Yeah, we said, do you want to do something? And she starts screaming at our lungs. Thank you.
So, anyway, sorry about that. My 1-year-old granddaughter decided to visit the flight deck looking for treasures. And the picture. Oh, sorry for that, folks. All right. So you have the two options, performance and tools or takeoff performance. Performance and tools will give you a little more information, like where on the runway V1 rotate V2 is. That's, if you're into that, go for it. But you also got to put information into it, where if you just go here, which is what obviously I'm going to do, we have a 7,600 feet runway. You're going, there's no way. Yes, it'll get off, folks. Trust me.
Push the trash can around.
Oh, little menace. You gotta love them. All right. So takeoff setting, full and or flex. We're going to full or flex, and you just kind of watch, hit calculate. And what it's going to do is basically tell you what you need to put in there. So I'm just getting it on another screen real quick. So as you can see, our V1 will be 135, 138, 156, or very close to that. It could be different. And then our flaps at 15 and select temperature 60. Okay. All right, so let's do it, shall we? Hang on, get rid of Sim Toolkit. All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little. So we're flexing at what temperature? Does anyone remember? My screen blanked out for a second. There it is. 60. Okay, slope you can get from Sim Toolkit real easy. Let's see, 0.1. So it's up 0.1. Diagonal. What it needs is the headwind component, 8. Oh, hang on a second. I'll be right back. All right. She has left the building. So we got to put HD 8. There we go. Outside air temperature 32. And our flaps for today 15. All right, like I said, we may have a slight difference. V1 and rotate are the same here, but 138 and 148 for V2. Click, click, and click, and you get them going. And there you have it, folks. The McDo is set, ready for flight. So are we. I hope you're buckled up, ready to go. Next up is fire up and go. All right, so to fire up and go to ground ops. Let me just do something here. I always wonder. 12. Give me a second. Okay, we're good. I didn't click fuel and food service. Never really need to. Close, close, and close. And close. All right, we'll go ahead, pull the staircase. One thing I did not mention, to start the APU, you have 2 ways. You can click APU power right up here at the top. It'll flash avail till it becomes available. Or up here where you see APU right below agent discharge, APU, that's start stop, you can click it, it'll do the same thing. If you're on the APU, let's take a look. Should only be chocks on the plane at the moment. Staircase away, everything's closed. We're not going to be pushing back. We're going forward, folks. So what do you say? Let's get going. All right, checklist reads. No, it doesn't. There are some steps we still need to do. Let's see here. We got our flight plan and all of that confirmed. 250 runway heading today is 217. So let's set that. Okay, since there's no ATC, we're going for 39,000. And then we got our climb, we've got our runway, we've got our speed at 250, traffic data, both sides, VOR. Turn the weather and terrain radars, make sure they're off. And and our range looks good. I'm going to actually increase it over here to 40 for the first officer. We'll keep ours at 10, I think it is. And I think we're ready. So parking brake is set. Now for me, I have to, I've got a key for it, but it just doesn't seem to do the trick, so I manually do it. Seat belts, they're going on. Beacon on. No smoking is set. Emergency lights, arm. Emergency power switch, arm. Call for better pushback, we don't need it. We don't need to worry about aux1. Transponder, let's make sure it's on Xponder, which it is. And let's commence with engine start. We'll use B this time. Just got to select A or B. And what it's going to do, automatically kick your packs off and get the plane ready to fire up. Like I said, it's pretty automated. Oh, and we need to put in CTAF for here. I can't remember. Tower frequency, tower 127.50, I believe. Keesler traffic, Clipper 18 heavy firing up on the main ramp. For number 3, I find it for myself easier to click from there. The other two I can pretty well get. And then we just watch. About 20% I give it fuel by just moving the switch up. I guess that's a big thing now starting to be talked of with that Air India disaster. I don't really know. So I don't really talk about it much. Other than to say, man, really just a horrible thing. Okay, we're stable. Let's fire up number 1. By the way, just like Airbus, the generators come online. The packs will come online as we get the last engine started. Right now, they're on the APU. Okay, fuel switch on. And let's start number 2. All right, we got them all stable. All right, so let's go through it here. Windshield defrog. That's something we actually forgot. Okay, that's on. Okay, turn the APU bleed off. Let's make sure all the packs go like they're supposed to. Then I'm going to come up here and one more. All right, we'll check that in a minute. Hydraulic pumps are set. Ground equipment's clear. Let's get the chocks removed. Okay, we're not pushing back, so we're not worried about that. Okay. Let's go to the config SSP, which is this one right here. And set our trim. Is that 9 or 8? 9. .9. Okay, flight control check. Okay, stab trim set, auto brake to take off. And while we're here, let's go ahead, arm them. And takeoff data, reconfirm 135, 135, 148. Good, go, let's go. Taxi light. Yeah, Keesler traffic, Clipper 18 heavy taxiing to runway 22. Now, if you're not really military savvy, but you might know something, one or two things out there like hurricane hunters, those of you that live in the Southeast. The Hurricane Hunter Air Force 130s are here. They don't just hurricane hunt. They're part of the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration's weather team of aircraft. Now, otherwise known as NOAA. They have their own aircraft, but the Air Force has these special 130s that can be equipped and outfitted for different missions. The big one we all know them for is hurricane hunting, and they actually fly in first determining if there's a storm. 2, they help in the forecasting of it by giving them real-time, up-to-date information. What is the storm doing? Is it building, disintegrating, what? So they do a lot. And here's the kicker. This is not an Air Force operation. It's a Air Force reserve. So these folks actually most likely work other jobs, the pilots with airlines, and they come here and do that for anywhere people are threatened by typhoons, hurricanes, name it, they're there. Even in the wintertime, they fly into the nor'easters here in the U.S. So that's a big mission here at this base. They got the blast fence backwards. All right, let's get the plane ready to go. Radar on, tilt up to, all right. And radar on. And Keesler traffic Clipper 18 heavy. Departing 22 to eventually to the north. And yes, we'll back taxi. And probably end up with the nose gear in the grass if I do it the same way I did last time. Thought there were turnarounds here. Okay, let's get the lights on. All right, so for takeoff, here's that one other thing. I had a YouTube comment that helped me, and it seems to do a pretty good job. We're going to click auto flight and prof, which puts us into VNAV armed. I know we had a question out there, and that question came in from Ohio Sigma Gamer 1. So now, whether you do this all the time or not, I just know we have it readied, so we're ready to punch it. So, brakes off. I want to double check real quick. We are on the map, so we are recording. Here we go. V1, rotating. Positive rate, gears coming up. Look at our flight director. There you go. And now we're just easing on over to Gulfport before we make the turn northbound to Meridian. And Keesler traffic, Clipper 18 heavy, clear of the traffic area. And we're on our way. Hope you enjoyed the departure. And we'll be turning on course here momentarily. Now, currently there's no storm, so I'm not expecting to see much. Back in March timeframe-ish, maybe early April, we had some pretty wicked weather here in the Midwest. And before the big tornado here in St. Louis. That line that was going through back in March, I believe it was, the tornado was in May, so way before this. Stretched into the Memphis area, and that radar was lit up unbelievably. I say all of this because we're in XP12.2.1. Soon to be 3.0. When, we don't know, and we're all very much anticipating this. It is a weather update plus the weather radars. They're continually updating the weather, but now they're going to put some updates to the weather radars, and I'm really looking forward to this. So, by the way, you know what? I don't have the sounds turned up. My bad. I keep thinking if I turn them down there, I can hear better in my ears and forget. That has nothing to do with it. So, my apologies for no sounds. Just going through my YouTube feed here to see what all I've missed. Oh boy. I tell you, the news here. I get where it's going, but talk to those people on I-64 saying St. Louis is the least congested city in the country or possibly the world. Who knows? Who knows with local media? Yeah, go talk to those people on I-64 and 70 and 44. I don't think you'll get that out of them. All right, we are climbing out. We're through transitions, so hang on. Standard. And then we'll set it as we come back down. We're headed for 39,000. Hope y'all have enjoyed. Should be at our destination. Oh, I'm in the wrong screen there. There we go. About an hour, 10 minutes. It'll drop a little as we get higher, and but not much. So about an hour, 15 minutes, we should be in the Scott Air Force Base traffic pattern. All right, folks, we are about an hour out of Scott Air Force Base. And hope you all enjoy the flight. It's was pretty fun. A couple of steps I missed here and there, but you know, those things happen. But hey, we're airborne, and looking for another great run. Hopefully this time. Hey. Oh, I thought we had Hawker here. My bad. I'm looking at the wrong page. But anyway, we're airborne. So great day today to be flying up here in the St. Louis area, looking at it. And we got some storms out to the east, but to the west, they're kind of dotted here and there. You know, just the way when you get hot, humid summer days, that's what you get. And what many areas are going through with a lot of heavy rain. Boy, I can see some potential for some flooding out east. Northern Kentucky, West Virginia, maybe southeast Ohio. That's training. Wow, that's a lot of rain gonna come down. But really, the only way to bust up this pattern, and you hate to say it, because it's even something just as bad, a tropical system needs to come into the Gulf and change basically what's going on. And I think right now there's nothing for the next 7 days. I think Sahara Desert dust is in the area. So anyway, but that's there. We're airborne 39,000 headed to Scott Air Force Base. Yeah, we talked about it a few minutes ago with 3.0 on the horizon. Who knows when it'll release? Sometime 2025. Watch it be New Year's Eve. God help us if it does. Take that long. No, I'm pretty sure we'll see it maybe the day before. No, a little earlier than that. But yeah, I can't wait. I mean, look out here. I mean, there could be some improvements to what we see texturally wise, but the weather looks great. Granted, we don't have any thunderstorms nearby that I can see. Yeah, we got some bubble ups, but overall, it's for the most part in this area tranquil. Just hot, just humid. And what air base is that? Meridian? It is. Meridian right over there. Actually, is it naval? I think that might be the Naval Air Station. Anyway, yeah, just not a bad day right now. The closest storms to us will be pretty close to St. Louis. So for us to see them, so looking if Elevatex any good source. Let's take a look at VATSIM radar. Yeah, they're not showing anything either. So all right, it is showing us on sim, what is this sim? Smart cars. I just put us online. I wish it would let us do that earlier. Showing us that we are flying on VATSIM. But yeah, we're just tracking right up through Mississippi. And like I said, about an hour from now, we should be on approach to Mid-America. Sit back, relax, enjoy the music. It's the weekend. It's what it's all about. Just kind of recharging so we can be ready for the next week. All right, folks, we're back with you. We're about to hit top of descent. We set 7,000. 14 left does appear to be the runway of choice today. Unless, of course, they just say, nope, you get to land on 32 right. Which, that has happened a million times. St. Louis, notorious for it. I don't know, with an 8 knot, yeah, I think they're going to keep it on the 3.2s. Or on the 1.4s, sorry. It's, as you can see in the chat, 10-mile visibility, clear, 33 Celsius. Oh my gosh, on the thermometer Fahrenheit. 3,002 for the altimeter. Right now, there might be a thunderstorm by Centralia where we make the turn. Real quick, instead of saying where we make the turn, here's charts. And again, the METAR is showing 17 minutes old there in the lower left. But as we're coming up here to Centralia, let's see how it's shaping up here. It's not showing up here either. Just maybe some blips as we get close. All right, the approach goes like this. We come into Centralia, out to Haves, Eichel, planning to be at 7,000 feet there. Then we just cruise on to Dutmai, Troy, and there we'll be getting pretty close to fully configured for landing. Because we're going to be turning pretty quick for the ILS, which we have not programmed in here yet. So we'll click select, and ILS, add. So basically off Troy, we'll head to Hetsu and Wundot. Looks like this. Now, if you get to a point where you're nervous and it's not showing up on your primary flight display, that would be this one. If it's not showing the frequency or anything here, all you got to do is go into the FMC, RadNav, and put the information in. It does come up, but sometimes it makes you a little nervous. But anyway, across the top of the frequencies we expect, the localizer for today is runway 14 left, 11115, 139 on the course, Woomont 2,200 feet, and our decision altitude we're setting is 252 feet. Elevation at touchdown 442. Now today, instead of parking on the commercial side, we're going to go ahead and taxi over to Scott so these troops can get right into the base. All right, and then there's some information here. Missed approach back to Dutmai and hold. Just kind of going through anything important. Here's the vertical. Between Hetsu and Womot, we need to be getting down to 2,200 feet to grab the glide slope and then track it on in. For today, I think we're going to have, well, instead of saying I think, it's going to be right around 800 feet a minute. It's going to be about 150 our approach speed. Pappy should be on the right. Don't be surprised if they show up on the left, unless someone at X-Plane has been hearing me and actually made the change. I don't know. We're going to find out. But I don't think, when I flew in here the last time, I think they were on the left, and that is wrong for that airport. There are no approach lights coming in except real, which are basically runway end strobes, if you will, just letting you know where the end of the runway is. No approach lights. So that'll wrap it up. Minimums that we can accept in the cloud base, 300 or higher feet in the broken or overcast category, 3/4 of a mile, and then we'll call the ball, Mav. Oh, center came up. Never ever wanted. Are they up? I'm thoroughly lost. What is going on here? Hang on, let's back out. Or did they just come up? I think they just came up. If they did, they're not showing. Well, that's weird. Yeah, 3 minutes, so they're not going to ping us most likely. All right, we're going to get this slowed up a little bit. Let me get charts out of here. All right, so we're going to bring us down to 290. And in this case, let's get some speed brakes. And out in the distance, that's the Mississippi River. All right, coming up on our speed. So let's get the speed brakes retracted. Brakes set to medium. Speed brakes are still armed. And we're at 290 descending. Sometimes you do have to kind of take over the speed control. Right now, we're not descending very heavy. Let me increase. Yeah, right now it's wanting us at 7,000 here. That's not where I want it. So we're going to increase our rate of descent. It's being a little stinker here. It's not wanting to show improvement. Yeah, they're fully turned up, so I don't know what that was I heard. We do need to get our CTAP in here, which will be 128.25. Hang on a second. See if those storms are going to show up or not. But you can definitely see them out there. All right, 18,000 means we go to 3002. Set to 55. You know, I just realized Kansas City was up when we took off. Bummer. Now it's showing Memphis up. We're almost to Centralia. All right, let's get down here, take our approach. All right, VREF is 140, approach 145. And that nasty sun right now in our eyes, which means when we turn, it'll be behind us. All right, let's, okay, we're coming on 10,000. We are going to be high at Eichel, I think, which is fine because we have a lot more room to go. All right, let's kind of zoom in here. So, but I hope you enjoyed. This will be the only stream today. We're setting up for tomorrow. Got about a 2 to 3 hour main flight, and if time permits, we do have a secondary one to fly. We'll find out when we start tomorrow. And there it is, showing our localizer. Let's verify IBTC. India Bravo Tango Charlie. Boom, 23 miles out. We're getting fast again. Doesn't take much for this plane to get going. But she'll slow back down. We'll about 1,000 feet. We'll start slowing. All right. I don't have signs of the airport yet. I don't know if we will. Trying to find the interstate. That was useless. Okay. Fly the airplane, not sightsee. All right, let's come on down to 5,000. Well, there's the interstate. Okay, weather's still the same, 3002, 3002. All right, for now, I guess sunglasses. Not really helpful. All right, we're 220 headed to Troy. Currently, do we have Troy dialed in? 14 miles from that turn. And right off the engine is our airport we're going to. Okay, no tower ground or anything like that here. There has been for a few weeks or a few days at least. And wonder why they stopped. All right, let's drop to 3,000. All right, we're gonna go into a sterile cockpit now and get ready to land this beastie. Okay, we're gonna need 214 on that turn. All right, let's start it. Okay, get the slats out. Okay, we'll arm up. Again, all you do is arm by pushing approach land. You've just armed it. Actually, for an auto land, you're not. It sets it up for whatever the airport's allowed. But yeah. Flaps 15. We'll talk about that fund system here in a minute. Okay, we're coming into 2500. Got the localizer coming in. Now, the nice thing about evening to nighttime flying, you can usually see the runway at this point. Daytime, you may get in a lot closer. Just right now, it's real hazy, icky outside because of the humidity. And I got the runway just barely. But we'll go ahead, get into flaps 29. Or is that flaps 20? 28. All right. Let's go ahead, set her to 145. Going by the gauge here, VAP approach is 145, landing 140. So that's what we're going to set. And we're going flaps full. 35 is flaps full. We do have another notch. It really isn't going to be needed. We just grabbed the glide slope. So here we go. Getting a little slow. Mid-America Airport, Clipper 18 heavy, 3 mile final, 14 left. Annoying as all get out. Okay, we're stable, we'll be landing. Ah, nice, gentle crosswind. Landing. Yep, the pappies are still in the wrong place.
Glide slope, glide slope, glide slope, glide slope. 20, 10.
All right, we're here. That was a much better. I think it is just the nighttime effects in here just really play with my eyes. And Scott Mid-America traffic, Clipper 18 off at Papa to the Scott side. Flaps up. Now, one neat thing that happens at this, neat for the spectator, maybe not so much for the flight crew, because I've watched some pretty hairy-carry stuff here on these approaches in here in different types of weather. One of the big ones is right up here when we turn on taxiway golf to head over to the military side. Winds like this today, where they're west-ish, what is it now, 220 at 8 for the last 50 minutes, kick it up a little more. And I don't have the trees, I don't think, set deep enough yet. But and it's a little different now, but not much. The wind tunnel effect here that happens is incredible to watch. New pilots to the airport, you can actually watch them rock as they get right here. Some actually go around. Others, just the ones that know of it, land and just either plan on before it or after it. And it's fun to watch them. Like I said, I've seen some pretty, people not used to it, really getting squirrely. And most of the time, those go around. But some will just ride it out and land just a little bit past. And it smooths out once you get past the tree, this opening. But it is a huge wind tunnel effect here. So now we're passing over a couple of bridges, over creeks. Yeah, I'm going to see if I turn up the trees, if this is any better. It was a little overkill with the settings I had originally. Then I backed them down to help frame rates, which they did. So I'm a little nervous to turn them up, but it looks pretty good. This is just a big water preserve area. Fire station off to the left, not the one I worked at, but matter of fact, when I worked at Scott Air Force Base, none of this was here. It all stopped with those KC-10s up in the foreground here. And that was helicopters. Army UH-1 Hueys. Boom, 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 boom. And no, there's, well, yeah, I know why it's there, but that's wrong. All right, coming up to the Scott side, 8,000-foot runway here. Today, instead of helicopters, KC-135s. They keep saying the KC-46s may show up here. They've been saying KC-10 or now KC-46s for better part of, what, 30 years? Don't think they're going to show. All right, we're getting ready to cross 1-4 right, 3-2 left. No, right. No, 3-2 left, 1-4 right. Back when I was in the Air Force, off the end of the runway here was some alert hangars. Now the snow vehicles are there for snow removal. Used to be the Aero Club, small planes. I love being a tour guide in the flight sim. Wish they could pay me for that. No. There is actually a hangar here, fuel cell maintenance hangar. And I don't know if it's because maybe my settings are down or what, but the building itself is not there. Yeah, we'll park here where the VIPs are. Turned a little too early. Okay, brakes set. Now I know I got a few things I did not do after landing, like stape trim to 3.0. Stape exterior, APUs on, fuel switches. I think we're ready. Clear, 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 clear. Lights are off. APUs on, bleed coming on. Okay. Right down here, and we'll start shutting engines down. He says cautiously. Okay, you're going to play that game. Well, we'll do it too. What's going on here? Is that lit? Oh, okay, just sun reflection getting that. Okay, transponder to standby. Actually, we'll go to exponder. Okay. And I think we're set. Let's go up here, beacon off. Emergency lights off. Doors may be opened. There it is, Scott Air Force Base. Unfortunately, we don't have F4s like they show there. But, you know, hey, it looks cool. All right, let's see if we did any better with them. Now, how do I get 2 flights here all the time? That part I really would love to know. Ah, this time we did just a little better than the 700 feet a minute of Friday. According to the log, and I'm just going to double check here with the system. I hate when it's so hard to find. Looks like Smart Cars put us down at 134 feet a minute. A wee bit better. All right, and accepted. Cool. That's all we want to see. All right, folks, we are at Scott Air Force Base. Let's elevate tech, see how we did. Gate 15. Sure, why not? It's they're not gates. I know in their world it is. Complete. There's starting to get to be more and more storms out there. We've got one going to Tampa. Little off course if he left Pittsburgh to be wanting to go to Tampa by St. Louis. I wonder if dispatch gave him that route. All right, let's see here. As you can tell from the last flight, 732 feet a minute. Today, 131 feet a minute. And yes, that is comical. It probably really is a 747 tail number, but for some reason, whoever made this plane must have loved that number. 131 feet a minute at 150 knots, 1.2 Gs. That's how I was hoping to do it Friday. Unfortunately, the ground came up quicker than I expected. All right, now the one I used the most to learn from is Sim Toolkit, and they were even nicer. 108 feet a minute, but the same 152 and 1.2. Complete that flight. And see, they were nicer to me, 518. Why couldn't Sim Air Force see that? That's okay. We love flying flights, so it's always fun. All right, viewing the details here, and then we're going to wrap this up. Maybe, did I click it? There we go. An hour and 41 minutes at 491 miles, 9,800 kilograms of fuel went through the engines. 1.2, 108, we all know this. So where did we land? I am very curious. Just past the landing zone. All right, this is what I was talking about. See how it's all trees? Now, granted, they've cut back a little bit here. You could kind of see that starting. Tower couldn't see, so they cut the trees down so they'd be able to see. So 500, 1,000 feet, 1,246 feet down the runway. That is not bad. On the center line, on top of it, 0.9 feet off the center line. That is what I like seeing. And again, even here. But yeah, your landing zone ends, I think that's it right there. Yeah, right here. So if they're not going to be able to make it here, they'll kind of go a little further and touch down here. All right. Numbers look good. 4.6 on the nose up. A little bit of, crosswind action to land. Little fast. I wish we would have gotten it slowed a little more, but hey, overall, we'll take it. And I hope you all enjoyed. We'll get this uploaded to YouTube in the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we'll be back at it. We're going to be starting in Europe, coming out of Lisbon, Portugal, headed for the Azores in an A321neo. The fun starts at 1600 Zulu. I'm going to be cruel and make you do the math. Figure it out for your time zone. 1600 Zulu. Somewhere on and about that. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend. I still got a day. I know some of you go back tomorrow, but I hope it's great what you have left. God bless you all, and thank you so much for coming aboard again to refly Friday's flight. Y'all have a great night. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll shut up now so I don't lose viewers. Have a great night.